In 1953, South Korea lay in ruins, with 78% of its infrastructure destroyed and a GDP of just $67 per person. Today, it's a technological superpower. How did a nation with no natural resources, only the determination of its people, engineer history's most impossible economic miracle? The Korean peninsula had barely recovered from 35 years of Japanese colonial rule when it was thrust into a devastating civil war. When the fighting stopped in 1953, South Korea was among the poorest nations on earth. Its cities were reduced to rubble, its industries obliterated, and millions of its people killed or displaced. Foreign observers were pessimistic. One U.S. official famously remarked that South Korea would remain a basket case indefinitely. The country had few natural resources, limited arable land, and was still technically at war with its northern neighbor. By conventional economic wisdom, South Korea's prospects were bleak. What South Korea lacked in natural resources, it compensated for with human capital. The Korean people possessed something far more valuable than oil or minerals: a fierce determination to rebuild, a strong cultural emphasis on education, and a willingness to sacrifice for future generations. This national spirit became the foundation of what economists would later call the miracle on the Han River. Beginning in the 1960s under President Park Chung-hee, South Korea embarked on an ambitious series of 5-year economic plans. The government directed capital toward strategic industries, promoted exports aggressively, and invested heavily in infrastructure. Unlike many developing nations that focused on import substitution, South Korea embraced global markets. It began with labor-intensive industries like textiles and simple electronics, where its disciplined workforce provided a competitive advantage. But the country's leaders had no intention of remaining at the bottom of the global value chain. By the 1970s, South Korea was pivoting toward heavy industry and chemicals. Companies like Hyundai, which began as a small construction firm, expanded into shipbuilding and automobiles. The government provided subsidized loans, tax incentives, and protection from foreign competition to these nascent industries. The chaebol, family-owned conglomerates like Samsung, LG, and Hyundai, became the engines of growth. While their close relationship with government would later raise concerns about corruption and economic concentration, they provided the scale and resources needed to compete globally. What's particularly remarkable about South Korea's development is its speed. It took Britain 58 years to double its per capita income during the Industrial Revolution. South Korea achieved the same feat in just 11 years. Between 1962 and 1995, the Korean economy grew at an average annual rate of 10%. Transforming from an agricultural society to an industrial powerhouse in a single generation. At the heart of South Korea's transformation lies its extraordinary commitment to education. In the aftermath of war, even as families struggled for basic necessities, parents prioritized their children's schooling. This wasn't merely cultural, it was strategic. The government recognized that without natural resources, human capital would be the country's only path to prosperity. South Korea's education system became renowned for its rigor and results. By the 1990s, the country had achieved nearly universal literacy and one of the highest rates of university attendance in the world. Korean students consistently rank at the top of international assessments in mathematics, science, and reading. The intense academic competition, epitomized by the grueling college entrance exam known as Sunung, has been criticized for placing excessive pressure on students. Yet it has also produced generations of highly skilled workers who have fueled the country's technological advancement and economic growth. By the 1990s, South Korea was no longer content to follow technological trends. It aimed to set them. The government and private sector invested heavily in research and development, with R&D spending reaching 4.8% of GDP, among the highest rates in the world. The Asian financial crisis of 1997 could have derailed this progress. Instead, it became a catalyst for reform. Korea restructured its financial system, improved corporate governance, and doubled down on technology and innovation. Today, South Korea leads the world in several critical technologies. It dominates the global memory chip market, produces the most advanced smartphones and displays, and has the highest robot density in manufacturing. It was the first country to launch a nationwide 5G network, and consistently ranks among the top nations for internet speed and connectivity. Nearly every aspect of Korean life, from transportation to healthcare to government services, has been digitized. South Korea's technological prowess extends to its healthcare system, which has become one of the world's most advanced. The country offers universal health coverage through a national insurance system that provides high-quality care at relatively low costs. Life expectancy has increased from 53 years in 1960 to 83 years today, higher than the United States. Korean hospitals are equipped with cutting-edge medical technology, and the country has become a destination for medical tourism, particularly for complex procedures and cosmetic surgery. The pharmaceutical and biotechnology sectors have also grown rapidly, with Korean companies developing innovative treatments and vaccines. This advanced healthcare infrastructure proved crucial during the COVID-19 pandemic. South Korea's response, combining advanced testing capabilities, digital contact tracing, and transparent information sharing, became a model for the world. The country managed to control the virus without the extensive lockdowns seen elsewhere, minimizing both health and economic damage. The transformation of daily life in South Korea has been as dramatic as its economic statistics. Cities like Seoul, once devastated by war, are now marvels of urban planning with efficient public transportation, extensive green spaces, and vibrant cultural districts. The country's high-speed rail network connects major cities while its airports consistently rank among the world's best. Housing quality has improved dramatically, though high real estate prices in major cities remain a challenge. Public safety is exceptional. South Korea has one of the lowest crime rates in the developed world. Environmental protection, once sacrificed for economic growth, has become a priority, with extensive recycling programs and growing investment in renewable energy. Despite the pressures of a competitive society, Koreans enjoy a rich cultural life. Traditional practices like temple stays and tea ceremonies coexist with modern entertainment. The country's distinctive cuisine, from street food to royal court dishes, reflects both its agricultural traditions and its openness to innovation. Perhaps the most surprising aspect of South Korea's transformation is its emergence as a cultural powerhouse. For most of its modern history, Korea was primarily influenced by foreign cultures rather than exporting its own. Today, the Korean wave, or Hallyu, has swept across the globe. K-pop groups like BTS and Blackpink fill stadiums worldwide. Korean films and television dramas dominate streaming platforms, with director Bong Joon-ho's Parasite becoming the first non-English language film to win the Academy Award for Best Picture. Korean cuisine, fashion and beauty products have found enthusiastic global audiences. This cultural influence represents more than just soft power, it's a significant economic engine. The Korean wave generates billions in exports and tourism revenue, while enhancing the country's global brand. Korean cultural products also serve as effective advertisements for Korean consumer technology, creating a virtuous cycle of influence and economic benefit. South Korea's transformation hasn't been without challenges. The country faces one of the world's lowest birth rates and most rapidly aging populations. Income inequality has increased, with many young people struggling to find stable employment despite high levels of education. The dominance of the chaebol has made it difficult for innovative startups to thrive. What can other nations learn from South Korea's remarkable journey? First, that natural resources are not destiny. Human capital, strategic policy choices, and institutional quality matter far more for development than geological luck. Second, that the debate between state-led development and free markets presents a false dichotomy. South Korea succeeded by combining elements of both, using strategic government intervention to build competitive industries while gradually liberalizing as the economy matured. As we face global challenges from climate change to technological disruption, South Korea's story reminds us that seemingly impossible transformations are achievable within a single lifetime. A nation that once seemed destined for permanent poverty engineered one of history's greatest economic miracles, not through natural abundance but through human ingenuity, determination, and an unwavering vision of a better future.